She's got a voice now. Okay, we're live on Facebook. Let me share my screen now. Oops. There we go. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. Folks are trickling in. We'll give it just maybe 3 more minutes. We'll start at 5 after the 6:35, and then we'll get rolling here. In the meantime, you can sign in. There's a bit.ly link here on the screen in front of you at bit.ly/LU sign in. Just to let us know who all's here tonight. Especially if you're joining us by Facebook Live, we can see everybody in Zoom, but if you're joining us by Facebook Live, it's helpful to know who's paying attention and who's watching.
Dave, it won't click.
That's because I'm just sharing my screen, so it's not a link for,
Okay.
you won't be able to click on the link, unfortunately, from your computer.
Okay.
Sorry about
Well,
that.
you
I'll
know
put it
I'm
in the chat though. How about that?
Okay. I'll put it in chat.
Yeah, be very careful to not just use lowercase because it's something completely different.
Uh-oh. Is it bad, John?
It's like some Unitas. Let me see. It's some other sign in for like some other thing that has nothing to do with us.
Gotcha. Thanks, John.
I can't get that right. What am I doing wrong?
So for folks who are trickling in, we're just giving it a few more minutes. You can sign in at this link here while we're waiting, so we know who all's with us, and we'll get started. Thanks, Rebecca.
Great swimmer. Thank you so much for listening to this.
We'll just give it one more minute, then we'll get started. I forgot to have my like upbeat music or waiting music tonight. Elevator music or something.
We could sing.
Trust me, you do not want to hear me sing.
I thought about threatening to sing, but then I thought, no, I like this job. I don't.
All right, well, it is 6:35, so we'll go ahead and get started now. Thank you all for joining us here tonight. This is our annual spring membership meeting and board elections. I don't think we have anybody joining us by phone, which is good. So we'll, I think we're okay. So for tonight, we're going to keep it pretty straightforward tonight. We're going to do welcome and introductions. We'll do kind of the precursor stuff we do for all of our Zoom meetings. Then we'll jump right into board elections. And then we'll talk about a couple ways that you can get involved in the organization beyond just being a member. Many of you are very involved already. But if you want to if folks out there are looking for other opportunities to get involved, we'll go through that quickly. And then we'll just open it up for general discussion. So you are our membership, guide everything we do as an organization. And so rather than have like a very long presentation on everything we've been up to, we thought sometimes it's good just to have open discussion about whatever you guys want to talk about. So we'll answer questions. If you have feedback, things that are on your mind that you want to talk about, we'll just open it up for that. So, and we'll try to get everybody out of here by around 7:30, 7:45. Great. So we always start with some accessibility notes. Sorry, I need to make my thing a little smaller because I can't see it. So accessibility notes, we're committed to making these meetings accessible. For neighbors that you might have who are not familiar with Zoom, please let them know that they can phone in. We're available to help people who may not be familiar with that process. During this meeting tonight, you can call either the LU office number, which is generously being forwarded to Helen's cell phone right now. Or you can call that other number, which I think is also going to Helen. So either way, you'll be getting some support from Helen tonight. We don't have anybody joining us by phone that I'm aware of. And then please do let us know if there are accessibility needs. Whatever your accessibility needs are, please let us know. We want to make sure that everyone can participate in these meetings. You know, Zoom and it can be tough for people, but so you can drop that in the chat or on the Facebook Live, put it in the comments if you have any accessibility needs. We'll also take security for tonight's meeting. We got Zoom bombed back before the new year. So that's our, pandemic cred, I guess. We got Zoom bombed. For those who are not familiar, Zoom bombing is when someone intentionally disrupts a virtual meeting. Because it happened and it was bad, we tightened our protocols around this. So we're a little bit cagier about just widely sharing out our Zoom links now. We try to balance getting as much word out to the community with having some security. So, so if a Zoom bombing episode happens tonight, we will check in via direct chat. If it's unclear what's going on, we may mute or disable the video or chat. We may remove anyone who's disrupting the meeting. And what happened to us actually last year was there was too many disruptors to handle, so we just ended the meeting. But I think we're better prepared for it now. So. Any questions on any of this so far? Okay, so a little bit about us. So I'm Dave. For those who don't know me, I'm the executive director here at Lawrenceville United. I'm joined here by my colleague, Helen Gerhardt. Do you want to introduce yourself, Helen?
Sure. I am the Community Engagement and Program Manager at LU. So there's a big lot of stuff I do, but we do food distributions and gardens and the farmer's market and all kinds of stuff. So feel free to reach out anytime you feel like learning more and or chipping in. We'll be talking more about volunteer opportunities soon.
Thanks, Helen. And Helen is the voice behind our newsletter, as well as the person usually responding to the info account too. So that's who you're getting when you reach out to our main lines. We are a growing staff right now. We've had 3 new people joining us as an organization in the last week. So it's been an exciting week. So we are excited to Prem Rajgopal is our new community organizer. He's going to be doing work with our neighborhood public schools and families in the neighborhood to strengthen and support our public school network. He's going to be joining us here in just a few minutes, but I'm a little ahead of schedule, so he will be popping in, and I'll give him an opportunity to introduce himself. We have a new shared finance manager in Cami Joseph. Our former finance manager, Michelle, retired. So we're excited for her, but we got some new faces too. If you've been to the farmers market anytime this season, you've probably seen Brianna. She's our farmers market manager for this year. She's doing an excellent job with the farmers market this year. And then among our newest staff is Dorothea Nicholson. She's we've been doing a lot of case management work as when COVID hit. That work has always been a part of our work, but we've never had a case manager position before to really be laser focused on that. And so it was becoming overwhelming for Helen and I. So we brought on Dorothea to really just focus on the individual needs of residents. She's going to be doing things like helping people navigate rent assistance and utility assistance. If you need support in applying for public benefits like SNAP or property tax or rent rebates or LIHEAP, Dorothea is going to be a person to go to. So we're very excited about her. She has a long career in case management, so we're very lucky to have her, and she's a sweetheart. So I think everyone will enjoy working with her. And then last but not least is Bree Stanton, rounding out our full-on Brianna farmers market team. Bree Stanton is our farmers market assistant. So you'll see Bree at the info table moving forward at the farmers market, to process tokens, any questions you might have. So yeah, we're really excited to have a growing and very awesome team. Great, thank you. And if Prem jumps on here, I'll give him a sec to introduce himself, but we're going to keep it moving out of the interest of time. And that kind of brings us to our board of directors. Our board of directors is our governing body for our organization. For most nonprofits, board of directors are legally required, and they have important legal functions. They're really the entity that's responsible for stewarding the duties of a public organization like Lawrenceville United. So we are a little unique at Lawrenceville United in that our board is elected by our membership. So it's a kind of a democratic board. And just about, all of our board members are either Lawrenceville residents or former Lawrenceville residents. So we have a really great board. Many of them are here tonight. And so, yeah, that is our board. And Helen, while I'm in screen share mode, I can't really see who's with us. So if Prem jumps in, will you let me know? Give him an opportunity to speak. Okay, thanks. Cool. So we're going to jump right into board elections then. So again, what does the board do? What are those legal responsibilities that it has to the organization? The board sets the strategic direction for Lawrenceville United. So they're really responsible for setting our big picture goals as an organization, make sure we're meeting those goals. They have a fiduciary responsibility to the organization in adopting our annual budget and providing fiscal oversight to the organization, mainly through our finance committee, which meets on a monthly basis. They also hire and evaluate me as the executive director, and just overall evaluate the performance of the organization within the context of our mission. And then the board does a lot of other things in addition to that, but they also help establish policies and help LU carry out its work through committees, through volunteering, through fundraising, and so much more. We have a very, very dedicated board, and we are very lucky to have built it. So the board is a really important function in any nonprofit, but especially for us. So how is our board structured? So you may think we just had a board election last year, and that's true. We always have a board election every single spring because it is a democratically elected board. Every year we have elections where you can vote on our board members. So this is one way that we try to be accountable to the neighborhood. So all of our board members serve 2-year terms. On the odd years like this year, we go through 6 by ward seats. And those who are not familiar with the wards, they are the city neighborhoods that comprise Lawrenceville. So Lower Lawrenceville Central and Upper, Lower being 6th Ward, Central Lawrenceville being 9th Ward, and Upper Lawrenceville being 10th Ward. People like Mary can tell you, and Don can tell you all about the rivalries between the wards stretching back. That's actually why we're called Lawrenceville United. But we have these by-ward seats to ensure that there's geographic representation across the whole community on our board. So there are 2 seats for each of the 3 wards. And that's what we'll be doing here tonight. And then on even years, we are at-large seats are open, and our at-large seats are open to anyone who lives in the neighborhood, as well as we have up to 3 seats that may be occupied by former residents as well. So yeah, and we do have a couple vacancies in our at-large seats tonight, right now. So while we will be having election for the by-ward seats, there are additional seats too that we will be moving folks over. And I see Prem has just joined us. So welcome, Prem. We're a little ahead of schedule, Prem. So we actually already introduced you, but would you like to just say a few words for everybody and just introduce yourself? And then we'll get right back to board elections.
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Prem Rajgopal. I use he, him pronouns. I am the new community organizer for Lawrenceville United, and I'm excited to work with all of you, and I would love to chat with anyone. My door is open, so you can ping me at frame@lunited.org, and just happy to meet all of you.
Thanks, Prem. And Prem is really trying to hit ground running right now and meeting with parents and families and folks involved in the education system. So if you'd like to set up a one-on-one with Prem and share your thoughts on public education in Lawrenceville and your experience as a family, I'm sure Prem would really appreciate that. Maybe just drop your email in the chat to Prem. All right, we're going to keep it moving. So as I said, that's our board structure. We're electing our by-ward seats here tonight. So this is our official slate here. We have 2 candidates for both the 6th Ward and the 10th Ward, and then we have 5 candidates for the 9th Ward. So we'll give everybody a chance to say a few words about who they are and why they're running for the board. One thing I will mention is that while we will be conducting elections for the top 2 votes, we'll get to take these 9th Ward seats. We do have 3 vacancies in our at-large seats. So whoever does not get elected to the 9th Ward seats will be appointed to those at-large seats to serve a 1-year term as opposed to a 2-year term. And would have to run for re-election next year. Folks who are in bold or have these stars are folks who are current board members. But most of these people are here with us tonight. So I will stop blabbing. I'll just give them an opportunity in order that we see on the screen to share a few words about themselves. So John, would you like to start?
Sure. My name is Don Kaler. I'm a lifelong Lawrenceville resident, was born and raised here. I have done some things through the years with Lawrenceville United. I remember when Dave first came in, I think you were with the PEP program or something way back in the day, or mentors. But I met Dave probably 8, maybe 9 years ago. And I helped out a little bit with the inclusionary zoning. I remember I spoke at one of the events that they had for the addiction epidemic. I'm a pastor at New Creation Church here in Upper Lawrenceville, and I actually was just thinking about it, and then Dave sent me an email. I would really like to get more involved with Lawrenceville United and try to connect with the community in a more intentional way. I have done some work with Lawrenceville United, and I think tree tenders with the cleaning up of like the Keystone Street Tree Park and Duncan Park up here in Upper Lawrenceville. And I don't know exactly how the time limitations are going to work out, but I'd like to do everything I can to try to help this organization and get involved with the community and see how it goes.
Thank you so much, John. And I'm gonna, since we actually started on the 10th word here, I'll finish out Marcus and then we'll circle back around to the 6th word here. So let me see if I can bring up. I'm gonna have to stop my share and then restart it. So give me 1 second, please. Marcus is unable to join us tonight, so he sent a video that he wanted us to share. Okay. Let me just make sure I've got my sound sharing too. All right. Can everybody see this? Okay.
Hello, everyone. Marcus here. I am a 10th Ward resident up for board election for 2021. Unfortunately, I was unable to make it to the virtual meeting, so just wanted to submit a video and make sure I had the opportunity for everyone to get to know me a little bit more. So by profession, I am the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion for Venture Outdoors. I focus primarily on making sure and instilling policy and procedure that makes outdoor recreation equitable and inclusive for everyone, specifically professionally and recreationally. I really enjoy outdoor recreation, as you can imagine, both professionally and making sure that I'm able to plug in, engage, and make sure holistically I have an avenue for health. And I find that in recreation and making sure to make that as inclusive as possible for everyone. When I'm not outdoors or working, I'm normally at home hanging out with my pets. I've got a Bernese Mountain Dog, so most people kind of recognize me by walking around with my dog in the neighborhood or at some of the local Bernard Run dog park and Highland Park specifically. But currently I'm engaged in Lawrenceville through multiple avenues. I've lived here for going on 4 years, and I've been running the full gamut per se. I've been with the Lawrenceville Corporation Board, which is my current most up-to-date opportunity. I'm also on the Lawrenceville Neighbors in Need Committee and also the Lawrenceville United Equity and Inclusion Committee as well. Also volunteering at the food pantry through COVID-19, and really any way I can engage where need be as well. So really interested in running for the board to make sure some of the recent developments are equitable, not only through inclusionary zoning that I really champion Dave and the Lawrenceville Corporation and United team for pushing, but also all of the recreational components. So the Arsenal redevelopment plan, green infrastructure plan, and Green Boulevard is something that I'm really engaged in and want to be operating in at a higher level. So I look forward to meeting you all in some capacity. Sorry I wasn't able to make it today, but if you see me in 10th Ward or hopefully on Lawrenceville United Board, stop in and say hello and have the chance to meet you face to face. So thank you all. Have a good weekend.
Okay, so that was our 2 10th Ward candidates, our Upper Lawrenceville candidates. We'll circle back now to our Lower Lawrenceville candidates. So John, would you like to go next?
Yes, no problem. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So my name is Jonathan. From Sudan originally. I immigrated to US from Egypt 20 years ago to Lincoln, Nebraska. Mom, sister and brothers. And then I moved to Pittsburgh for school. I did my undergrad at La Roche University in criminal justice. And now I'm doing my global and international security at Point Park University. I got married on 2019. My wife, she's from here. We got a son. He's 6 months old right now. The reason I'd like to join Lawrenceville board is to improve or to uplift my community. And since we buy this house and this is where our kids gonna be grow, so we wanna do more for the community and to ensure it's a better place or a diverse, Lawrenceville is a diversity place. I work for Ajapo. Some of you guys familiar with Ajapo. I was a caseworker since 2016 to last year, June. I serve a lot, work through public housing, school district. So I would like to bring all the experience that I have to this community and to improve.
Thank you so much, John. Our other sixth ward candidate is Alyssa Cipher.
Hi, everyone. My name's Alyssa Cipher. My pronouns are they, them. I'm the current board president of Lawrenceville United, and I'm the chair of the Equity and Inclusion Committee. And I've been on the board for the past 2 years. I'm from Pittsburgh, from near the Washington County border, so a bit more rural, but I've lived in Lawrenceville for 9 years now, ever since I first came to Lawrenceville to check out Art All Night when it was at the Iron City Brewery, and now I live very close to there. So it's funny how things happen. In my work life, I work in Radical Mental Health, which is an anti-oppressive conceptualization of mental health and disability justice. I founded Inside Our Minds, which is a radical mental health mutual aid organization that provides free mental health supports to the Pittsburgh area. I'm also the facilitator for Rainbow Writers at Right Pittsburgh, which is a poetry and expressive arts group for LGBTQIA+ teens. And I do a lot of consulting in radical mental health, disability justice, harm reduction, and suicidality and self-injury, and a bunch of other different services that intersect. As far as Lawrenceville United, I've been really happy to be involved the last 2 years, especially making sure that all of our conversations are centering equity and justice. And I've been given a lot of opportunities to work directly in this field, whether we're at the farmer's market, food distributions, passing the bylaws change so that former residents can join the board, and other ways that we can make sure that we're centering marginalized and oppressed communities in this neighborhood and in Pittsburgh overall. So I'm happy to be here, and thank you all.
Thank you, Alyssa. And we're going to move right into the ninth ward. Got an overstocked ninth ward. Our t-shirts also of the ninth ward completely ran out too. So our other wards, I'm a sixth warder too. So we've got some more work to do, but ninth ward is very overrepresented. So that's great. So we'll start with Rebecca Label.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rebecca, she, her, hers. I work at a nonprofit healthcare organization in a technology role. So it's a combination of really interesting server maintenance stuff and some cybersecurity aspects as well. I'm currently a board member at Prototype Pittsburgh. For those of you not familiar with that, it's a makerspace and co-working space that centers on marginalized communities. We also work with incubators to do startup businesses for folks who are interested in doing that too. My partner and I moved to Lawrenceville after living in Bloomfield for quite a while. We moved here in 2012. We got a row house on Bruce Street. And so living right on Bruce, I go to the park almost every day with my dog. We go to the Bernard Dog Park. I have a spot at the Lawrenceville Community Garden. And I love all of these things, and I benefit from the community so much, and I want to be able to give back. And I've, now at a point in my life that I have the time and space to do that. So I want to get more involved. I want to protect all of these things that make our community so great, expand upon them, make sure it stays, everything that is wonderful here stays and gets improved upon. And what I can bring to the board, I think that was the third question in the email, Dave. Not only my experience working at nonprofits, being a board member at another nonprofit, doing fundraising, I think there's also probably a need for some technology skills that I can bring, both in forms of just general site maintenance, email lists. I've done all of those things in nonprofit capacities. So I'm super excited to help out in any way I can. Thanks.
Thanks, Rebecca. Next up is Katie McCauley.
Can you hear me? Yay. Okay. My name is Katie McCauley. I'm currently a board member, freshly elected secretary as of last month. And I would like to continue to be on the board to primarily work on affordable housing. My day job, professional life is I'm the director of programs at Rebuilding Together Pittsburgh. It's a nonprofit that provides free home repairs for low-income homeowners. So we have been lucky enough to work with Lawrenceville United on some URA programs that have provided around $30,000 worth of rehabs for low-income homeowners in the neighborhood. We've also partnered with Lawrenceville United on meal deliveries that was born out of COVID. So I'm happy to say, like, my current job, I've been able to partner with Lawrenceville United, but I have a bit of a long history with Lawrenceville United in that I started out as an intern at Lawrenceville United in 2010 with Lauren, and following Don's example to call out a young Dave, I was a volunteer camp counselor in 2011. Dave was a paid, probably very low paid, but a paid camp counselor. So giving credit to Dave for over 10 years of serving the community. So yeah, my Lawrenceville United history, long. I was a renter in like 2015, 2016, bought a house in Lawrenceville in 2018. It's actually Carol Peterson's home, who is a great advocate for historic preservation. So it is a historic landmark, the house. But yeah, I want to continue on the board. As Rebecca said, like, I benefit from the community. So I want to give back to the community, continue to use my knowledge in community development and affordable housing to make Lawrenceville more inclusive. I was the housing chair for the last 2 years, but I'm happy that Omar, who's on the call, has taken over. But I plan to still be a member and contribute to the housing committee, and I'm excited for my officer role. So I hope you all reelect me. Thank you.
Thanks, Katie. And you definitely made me blush there. Gary can't join us tonight. Gary is a current board member, but he was unable to attend tonight unless I missed him. I don't think he's here. And next up is Ashley Verado.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Ashley Verado. I live in the 9th Ward on 44th Street with my husband and dog. We bought a house here in 2015, but I've lived in the neighborhood in different places, pretty much every ward at this point, over the last decade, and just really love living here. I love my neighbors. I love living close to my friends. I also garden in the community garden. So Rebecca, I may see you there, and you can call me out if my plot looks bad, because sometimes it does. But, you know, I've just benefited a lot from some of the things that have already been mentioned, the parks, the dog park. My husband runs a business here and actually does some work with some of the organizations mentioned tonight too. So we're both really, you know, lovers of the neighborhood. Professionally, I work currently for the Allegheny County Department of Human Services. In my role there, I support our Office of Community Supports with strategic planning and analytic work, basically to help them make sure that the programs that they're running out of their office are doing the most that they can to meet the needs of the community. And so my hope is that because I have that connection, you know, the Family Center here in Lawrenceville is an organization we work with. We did some work with the Boys and Girls Club during COVID so that it could be open for kids to do their online learning there. I feel like I could be a good connector to the behemoth that is the Department of Human Services and all of the programs that they offer, and try to make sure that, you know, we're doing the most that we can from that side to benefit Lawrenceville. And then in my past life, I worked for Pittsburgh Public Schools. I was in the schools in our community a lot. I worked with actually the principals who are still there, which is rare in Pittsburgh Public, but have spent a lot of time in those schools working with teachers and principals, the union, like basically everyone that has to be at the table. So hoping that I can be a good liaison to the schools and help advocate for what parents and families need in the community, but with a little bit of like an insider perspective. So yeah, I'm excited about the opportunity to hopefully join the board, and I will not embarrass Dave with how long I've known him. Maybe I'll save that for another time, but it goes back to him being in college and me being a volunteer coordinator. So yeah, but since it doesn't connect, I'll just stop there.
I was waiting for that to come up.
Yeah, I'm like, I can top that. I can, but anyway.
And last but not least, for the ninth warders is TN Wolf.
Hi, everyone. I'm Peter St. Tien Wolf. Friends and family call me Tien. Joined the Lawrenceville board last year and filled in the vice president position on the executive committee, newly elected as treasurer on the executive committee, and would welcome the opportunity to continue to serve as a board member. My wife and I moved to Lawrenceville in 2017. We are expecting our first child, a little girl, next week. So that is the excitement that is always on the back of my mind right now, waiting for that call. Started becoming involved with Lawrenceville United through the farmers market and the buddy program and the meal deliveries to Morningside Crossing every Friday for the last year or so. And professionally, I'm an attorney downtown, but love the Lawrenceville community, love everything that it's about, and initially got involved to try to give back in every way that I could. And like I said at the beginning, would very much welcome the opportunity to try to do so.
Thanks, Tien, and thank you to all our ninth ward candidates. Let's give a round of applause to all of our candidates for the board. It's not easy to stand in front of us all virtually. So thank you. And this is a volunteer job, and it is a lot of work. So we appreciate everyone who's willing to step up. With that in mind, I want to go back and thank all of our board members who are stepping off the board right now, which is Marlene and Kit. I don't think I'm missing anyone. No, I think that's it. So Marlene and Kit are stepping down off the LU board. They're going to stay involved with LU and in the neighborhood, and Marlene's going to stay involved with our governance committee. But we thank them for all of their service to the organization because they've given a lot of hours. Okay, so next steps for voting on the board. So the deadline to vote is 1 week from today. By the way, all of these candidates have taken the time and energy to put their bios and answer a couple questions on our website. You can find all of those responses here at this link at lunited.org/capital. Actually, I don't think this is case sensitive. lunited.org/LU member 2021. So you can find, if you click on all of the candidate names, it'll pop up all of their bios and all their answers to the questions. So I encourage you to check that out. The deadline to vote is next Wednesday. And if you are not a member yet, you could become a member at lunited.org/about/membership. You can also vote directly on our website at the bottom of this page, the page with the candidate bios. Yeah, so that's how you vote. And then if you are a member, you should have received a mailing from us with the ballot as well. So you can also return that paper ballot and just make sure we get it by Wednesday. And if any of your neighbors need a ballot or anything like that, do let us know. We're happy to drop those off. Okay. That's it for board elections. So we'll keep it moving here. Opportunities to get involved. So board membership is not the only way to be involved with Lawrenceville United. So we wanted to share other opportunities. And for folks who may be thinking, I'd like to be on the board someday, or maybe I would do that down the road. These are some opportunities kind of to get more involved as kind of an in-between step. So we'll start with Housing Committee, which has really been our committee that since we stopped doing property recycling, we used to actually sell, get properties that were vacant or blighted and sell them as affordable homes or side lots or other things. Since we no longer do that because we leave that to Lawrenceville Corporation and City Bridges Community Land Trust, this committee has become more of our advocacy committee. So all of the advocacy that we do as an organization, inclusionary zoning has been the major effort of our last 5 years. We had a victory today in that it's the legislation to make it permanent was unanimously approved by a standing committee at council. So the final vote will take place on Tuesday before going to a signature for the mayor, and then it will exist in perpetuity, which is really cool. So that's a little bit about housing committee. I'll let Omar or Katie fill in any holes that I left out.
I'm gonna say a couple of things, probably let Katie talk more about it. I'm Omar Muya. Hi everyone, and then I'm been the board for almost a year now. And then just as of maybe this month, I guess, I took, so I got another position being a chair of the housing committee. And then pretty much the most important, the most big thing on the table, like what I call Dave have said, is the inclusion zoning. IZ have been the main thing in table for a long time, and this is great news to hear now. At least is on the table to go to the mayor to sign to make it permanent. It was gonna be permanent, but I'll probably leave to Katie to add more to it, and if she have more to add.
I can step in. Yeah, so inclusionary zoning has been a huge push. So that's awesome news coming in as of today. But we're also working on expanding Section 8 housing vouchers, as well as preserving our Section 8 residents, not letting them be pushed out. And as I said in my professional day job, longtime homeowners, preserving their ability to stay in the neighborhood. So looking for resources for our low-income homeowners that are already in the neighborhood. So partnering with the URA and organizations like Rebuilding Together. And we run a lovely housing resource fair every summer that has now gone remote, and we've seen a lot of success with that. So we welcome any members that would like to join us in promoting and preserving affordable housing in the neighborhood.
Thanks, Katie and Omar. And if you do want to it's every other month we meet, usually on the second Mondays at 6 o'clock. And if you'd like to get involved in that committee or any other committee, you can email info@leunited.org. Next up is our Equity and Inclusion Committee. And I'll let Alyssa as chair talk about that.
Yeah, so our Equity and Inclusion Committee typically meets our second Wednesdays at 6:30, though this month we've rescheduled. We're actually going to be meeting on the 21st at 6:30 this month. And our main goals are to start working on what we call the equity blueprints, which are criteria that we're going to put into every committee and every aspect of the organization to make sure that we're centering equity in all of our conversations, in all of the new programming we do. We're also looking to bring anti-racist trainings to the organization and community as a whole, potentially later this year, and have conversations about what the experience is living in Lawrenceville for people from oppressed communities, whether that be BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, queer and trans communities, disabled people, seniors, our youth, and every other person who's experiencing some aspect of potential discrimination and oppression in our society. So if this is something you'd potentially like to be involved in and have a voice in, board members can join, but also people in the Lawrenceville community who aren't on the board can join. If you email Lawrenceville United or me, I can put my email in the chat. You can come join the board and have conversations around equity with us.
Thanks, Alyssa. Yeah, and all three of these committees are standing committees at LU, but are open to the public, as Alyssa said. So that's why I'm really stressing these three, and we really would love some new blood on these committees as well. And the last committee that I'll highlight tonight is our Membership and Development Committee. And this one really focuses on just growing our membership, because our membership really is our power and our voice as an organization. It helps us to sustain ourselves financially as well. And then the development part of the committee is focused on fundraising. So they've been supporting efforts at the organization, supporting me to identify new sources of funding, sustainable sources of funding, so that we can be. We celebrated our 20-year anniversary this year, just last month. So making sure we will stick around for another 20 years. And again, if you want to get involved in any of these committees, emailing that info account is the best way to find out about the next one. In addition to the committees, which is kind of like more of a leadership role, if meetings ain't your bag, we have lots of ways to volunteer in the community too. Many of our board members and board candidates were sharing the ways that they volunteer across the community. But we'll just share a couple opportunities right now. There are a lot, and these have grown with COVID. And one thing I really just can't stress enough is that we cannot have the impact that we have in the neighborhood with the number of staff that you saw in the earlier slide. It happens because of so many of you volunteering your time and so many others volunteering their time. So I'll highlight just a couple opportunities to volunteer. One is the buddy system, which has been, we created in the wake of the pandemic to match more vulnerable populations to COVID, to other folks in the neighborhood who want to make phone call check-ins, do grocery store runs, pick up prescriptions, things like that. And it's grown to over 300 volunteers, and really we've been using that as an army of volunteers for all kinds of different things. We send out an email all the time about all of our volunteer opportunities. Many of you receive that, so sorry for clogging up your inboxes, but that's a great way just to hear about a variety of different volunteer opportunities, because that is such a broad, a deep group of volunteers. If you want to just hear about any kind of anything that pops up, that's a great way to get involved is by joining the buddy system. Couple folks mentioned our food distributions. So every Friday we have partnered for many years with 412 Food Rescue. We've really scaled that operation under COVID-19, serving boxes of food like you see in that picture there to about 30 households every week. And again, we can't do that without about 5 to 10 volunteers every single week. So that's a really fun way. If you want to play Food Santa for a Friday, it's a really great way to end the work week and roll into the weekend. Our farmers market also gets a ton of volunteers, especially under COVID, making sure that all of our guests are following our safety protocols. There's just a lot of things to set up for the farmers market. So we have a really great group of volunteers at the farmers market. That's every Tuesday. And then Don was talking about the tree tenders earlier. If people is not your thing, then but you'd love to just like go take care of some trees. Not to say that we don't socialize as tree tenders too, we do. But if you really care about trees and you want to plant trees, mulch trees, tend the trees, identify places where we could be planting more street trees for our applications that we do for the street trees each year. The Tree Tenders is the group for you. They meet, I believe it's the second Thursdays of each month. And then related to that is the tree park. They created a tree park on formerly blighted property at the corner of Stanton Keystone. That beautiful little space there has been lovingly cultivated by the tree park volunteers over the years, and they have regular work days there as well. Every single month, they need some support to keep that space looking as great as it does. So consider that. Now I'll let Helen, if you want to talk about Duncan or anything else.
Sure. So Duncan Park is both a playscape and an edible forest garden. So we have been working with Duncan Park neighbors. We have a direct agreement with the city, a maintenance agreement, and twice a month on the second Saturday from 10 to 12, and on the fourth Monday from 5:30 to 7:30. Folks have shown up and helped to weed and water and plant and prune. We're going to be having a bunch of different kinds of educational programs coming up on everything from composting to maintaining the berries that we're about to plant. There's an upcoming work day this coming Saturday, which is a little bit longer than usual, 9 to 12, if you want to help plant some stuff. It is all of these different volunteer opportunities are definitely multi-generational. You see here on the slide, Etta helping her mom Rona to weed the path at Duncan Park. Two of our superstar volunteers for the food distributions are Sam and Bo, who are they are rock star volunteers. I think they're 9 and 11 years old, and so consistent, reliable. They help train other volunteers. So if you have kids that are interested in helping to volunteer and learn more about their community and make connections, they are welcome. We have lots, just all kinds of people from all walks of life that have really formed amazing teams for all of these opportunities. So feel free to reach out to me at helen@lunited.org. I'm going to drop that again in the chat, or info@lunited.org.
Thanks, Helen. All right. How are we doing on time? Oh, it's 7:22. We're a little bit behind now. So we'll just open it up now for an open Q&A. If you have any feedback for us, input, things that are concerning, questions, whatever you want, or just shout outs for things that are going great. So yeah, wanted to open up. What's on your mind? What are you thinking about? Do you have any questions for us, or things you'd like us to know? You can drop it in the chat. You can but also feel free to just unmute yourself.
Dave, I asked a question about the slide at Duncan Park. Whatever happened to that?
You want to take this one, Helen?
Pardon me?
It is up and running.
Okay.
We have you, if you stop by the park, it's really big. Like, it was daunting for me. Like, I was scared to get on it, and then this like 4-year-old jumped on it, and I was like, oh, she shamed me, and I had to follow her down too. But it's up and running, and along with other kind of natural playscape elements, wood to balance on. There's fun stuff, and we have a committee that is thinking about how we can expand the possibilities there. So
yeah, Helen's right. It is it's no joke. The manufacturer told us it was one of the longest slides in the city of Pittsburgh. So it's right into the hillside too. So it's pretty steep.
Yeah, that's where we play.
Yeah, there's like
okay, thank you.
There's a rock scramble. You can climb up the rocks up the hill and then run around to the sliding down. It has this kind of wavy structure. So you can slow yourself down pretty well by just like putting your feet to the side. So it looks scarier than it actually is once you're on it.
Thanks, Mary. Any other questions or comments?
There is a question in the chat about an update on Amazon.
Okay, yeah. So, okay, so if you missed the Amazon meeting, was that last week? Yeah, it was a week ago. Tuesday of last week, we had about 100 people just in our Zoom session. So it was very well attended. People were very interested. You know, what was presented by Amazon was a site plan that includes not only the use of the Sears outlet as a last mile distribution center, but they've also taken steps to begin leasing some adjacent parcels to use as off-street park, to use as parking for their vehicles as well. So they took us through that. A lot of the vehicles are going to be coming from McCandless Avenue, and they're going to access, their plan is to access the site, the Sears outlet site from McCandless. So you're probably familiar, as I am, of accessing it from Stanton or 51st Street. So yeah, that is, we do have a recording of the video on our website. We had a survey also that we sent out to the community that got over 300 responses. About 2/3 of the respondents to that survey have expressed that they're against the proposed, like against a last mile distribution center there and against what has been proposed. We are going to be having some follow-up meetings in the weeks ahead. We're still trying to lock down the exact dates. You can save your calendar for the development activities meeting this month that Lawrenceville Corporation hosts in partnership with us for the 29th, I believe that's going to be. And then we have tentatively scheduled a follow-up in addition to that on the 24th, because we had a ton of time for question and answers. There's just a lot of questions to Amazon. But we didn't get a lot of time to kind of digest as a neighborhood, as kind of amongst ourselves, or for people to give feedback directly to us. But the feedback we did get from both the survey and in the meeting was, you know, I would say pretty consistent, with about 2/3 people being pretty strongly against it. There's a lot of concerns around traffic. We heard a lot of concern around the impact to small businesses, concerns around worker conditions, air quality, environmental impacts, and also just like the use along the riverfront, when we had spent a lot of time in our community plans thinking about what could the future of our riverfront look like, and a lot of concerns that this is not consistent with those plans. So, so yeah, that's kind of where things are at. There's a big question at this point of what entitlements they will need. So in other words, in order to get their occupancy permit, what permits, and will they need to go to the zoning board to get certain approvals, which is really, you know, opportunities when community have to express, you know, what we want, and, you know, advocate for the zoning board to either, you know, support those variances or oppose them. So that's some of the homework that we're doing right now. The development activities meeting at the end of the month, the one on the 29th that I mentioned, is going to really focus on those questions around like what are the community plans say, what is the land use around here, what are the trigger points for the zoning board or for other things that would come out of the entitlement process. And then the meeting that I mentioned that we're tentatively scheduled for the 24th is going to be more focused on like a closed door discussion. Like we wouldn't have Amazon there. And it would just be more about, you know, thinking about what are our next steps, unpacking some of the things that we heard, sharing. We've been doing a lot of research also and trying to connect to one of the things we heard at last week's meeting was a desire to connect to other organizations and other communities that are being affected by Amazon. by these last mile distribution centers because they're popping up everywhere. It's part of a much broader strategy of the company. So we're looking at potentially bringing in some guest speakers to share some of their perspectives based on a lot of the questions and concerns that we heard. So that is where things are at. Thank you, Helen. Helen dropped both the link to the recording or the Facebook Live recording, I should say. We'll also put up, I don't think we've done this yet, but there is a Zoom recording too that we'll post on our website for folks who may not be on Facebook. And then Helen also put a link in for the follow-up survey. So we invited people to share kind of their thoughts after that community meeting last week that was mainly a Q&A with Amazon. So if you do watch the video or if you did participate, but you didn't give us that survey, please do. But there's going to be a lot more information coming out, and we'll certainly be keeping, like we're just sort of figuring out next steps at this point, but certainly we'll be keeping residents in the community in the loop as everything moves forward. Thanks, Emily. Any other comments or questions or thoughts? All right. Well, it is 7:31. We did say we tried to get you out around this time. So I have one more slide. Get back to my little screen share. Just next steps. Okay. So see you next time. So our monthly happenings meetings have generally been the third Tuesdays of the month at 6:30. That's where you can catch us for like just a general community meeting. We'll share updates. We're going to be doing that Amazon follow-up meeting this month. That's where we got some feedback last time that having both a development activities meeting and the happening meetings on Tuesdays, in addition to the farmers market being on Tuesdays, is just too much Tuesday activity. So we had some requests to break it up and choose a different night of the week. So as I said, we're looking at that 24th date, but we don't have that solidified yet. So just to put a little hole in your calendar, but it's not solidified yet. And then the monthly development activities meeting is generally the last Tuesday of the month at 6:30. Our fall membership meeting will be on October 6th. And this is our contact information here for anything you want to reach out to us in the meantime. If you didn't already, please do sign in to let us know you were here tonight, especially if you're joining us by Facebook, because we can't see you. And I see Don raised his hand.
Yeah, I was wondering, are the meetings going to be forever Zoom, or is there a chance that there's going to be in-person meetings again?
There is definitely a chance. We're not anticipating forever Zooms, but for right now, we're continuing them virtually. We're going to definitely be reevaluating, I think, within the next month or so, given the lifting a lot of the protection orders. We've been having a lot of conversations with the Equity and Inclusion Committee around how to do that equitably for people who may not be able to get vaccinated. So we've been talking about like maybe a hybrid model where we could have an in-person option, but still be doing live streaming so people can participate from home as well. So things like that. We haven't quite solidified that yet, but so I know many people are eager to get back in person, and we definitely hear that. But we want to make sure we do it, safely and equitably. That's all I got. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. Thank you for being a member and for all you do to support this organization. And thank you to all of our board candidates. Don't forget to vote in the board elections. And we'll see you again next time.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.
Dave, do you want to hang on for a second?
Sure.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks, everybody else. See ya.
Bye, Mary.
Pittsburghers for Public Transit is having their membership meeting tonight, and